You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hey, welcome to episode 244 of the Soul Forge podcast.
Welcome to the Soul Forge, a place of silent mystery, quiet contemplation, and outright mayhem. Join your host, Sean Vanderloo, as he guides you through the adventures of living. Together, we'll talk about life and love, sex and dating, joy and heartache, memories and loss, and so much more. Don't worry, it's not nearly as pretentious as it sounds. Get ready for life, the universe, and everything on the Soul Forge.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Soul Forge. I'm your host Sean, as always, and boy oh boy do we have an episode for you this week. As you know, there was no episode last week because I was a little bit busy, but why was I busy, you might be asking? Well, I guess there's not really going to be any preamble this week, and I don't know how long this episode is going to be, but I moved. I moved from Timmins to Sault Ste. Marie. It's Wednesday night as I'm recording this. This comes out tomorrow. I moved on Sunday. So here we are. And I don't know what the sound quality in this room is going to be like because I've never recorded a podcast here before. But let's just dive right into what's been going on and what's happening. All right, so as you all know, or may know, or maybe not, I don't know, I was born and raised in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. I lived here till I was 19. Then I went and studied English literature in North Bay at Nipissing University. And then I lived between there and Sault Ste. Marie off and on for about 7 years. And then in 2003, I moved up to Timmins. And I've been there exactly 19 years and a few days because I moved at the end of March of 03 and I moved here April 3rd back to Sault Ste. Marie 2022. So that's exactly 19 years in about a week. So what brought all of this on? Well, I've been thinking about moving back to Sault Ste. Marie ever since I moved to Timmins, actually. I never liked it in Timmins. I affectionately called it the land that culture forgot. It didn't have the culture that North Bay had, and it was just really not my cup of tea. But I made it home because I was there for almost 20 years. So yeah, it became home. And also, my grandfather was born and raised in Timmins and moved to Sault Ste. Marie when he was 17. And actually, his birthday was April 2nd, and I would have moved April 2nd, but like the movers I hired couldn't do it till April 3rd, so it was almost a full circle kind of thing. However, it wasn't. But here we are, and now I'm in Sault Ste. Marie. So before we get into the whole story of what's been going on, it's kind of a rambly episode because I don't have any specific plan of what I'm talking about, but we're going to play a promo for another podcast right here on the ESO Network, and then we'll be right back.
I'm Mark McCrae, the author of The Best Saturdays of Our Lives. And if you're not listening to our podcast, then you're missing out on amazing interviews with
Larry Houston,
Tom Tatawanovich,
Keone Young,
Michael Swanigan,
Ned Hastings,
Bill Gollier,
Dan Gilvazan,
Rob Lamb,
and so many others.
Kick back and let Dan Klink and I peel back the curtain on the animation industry.
The Best Saturdays of Our Lives podcast can be found on the ESO Network and all podcasting platforms.
All right, and how was that for a promo? I have no idea what I've put in there yet. I hope you check it out. Back to the story. I've been here 3 days. So let's get into the story of why I moved back to the Sault Ste. Marie, the Sault. So basically what happened was over the Christmas break, winter season, I guess. Well, maybe since even October, I hadn't been myself. People were concerned. I was low energy. I think in a previous episode I had said that while delivering the mail, I felt like crawling into a snowbank and just crying, and that's definitely not like me. Was it seasonal depression? Was it 2 years worth of COVID isolation? Was it something else that I can't even identify? I'm not sure. So anyway, I had the first week of February off, and Brother Curtis said, why don't you come for a visit? And I said yes, and that's how he knew there was something wrong, because I never travel in the winter, because it's a 5.5 hour drive between the Sault and Timmins. And I don't like driving it because wintertime, and back in, 2002, I had an accident where I spun out because of black ice. So yeah, I don't like traveling in the winter. So anyway, he said, come for a visit. I said yes, and he knew there was something wrong because I didn't hesitate to say yes. So I stayed here for a week, and it felt good. It felt light. It felt like home. So what did I do? I went back to Timmins after my week, and I put in a transfer for the Sault, thinking it would probably take, 6 months or a year or so, because usually that stuff doesn't happen right away. And wouldn't you know it, just over a month later, they said, your transfer has been approved. Would you like to accept it? And I said yes. And I had like 3.5 weeks in order to pack up and implode my life and rearrange everything. In the meantime, after I got back from my visit back to the Sault, the doctor put me on some Cipralax pills for my depression, and I'm feeling a lot better. And would I have made the choice to come to the Sault had I not been on these, or had I been on the pills and was feeling normal? I'm not sure. It's only been 3 days since I've been back. I got here Sunday evening, and then I had to work Monday morning, so there wasn't a lot of turnaround time. The first day was rough because I didn't know where I was going. The second day was a little bit less rough, and today, the third day, was even better. I'm only doing 2/3 of my route though, so I don't know what it's going to be like to do a full route, whatever, a walk, the run, whatever it is. So yeah, the supervisor said to ease you in, you only have to do 2/3 of the mail. So I still sort it, and I do two of the 3 sections. But yeah, so I don't know. It's very I'm very discombobulated. Like I packed up my entire life. I hired some movers, and they moved me here, and I'm sore because I'm on the second floor of my brother's house. He's got a huge bonus room above the garage. Whoever had this house before my brother and sister-in-law bought it, this room that I'm in was a dance studio or a painting apartment or whatever. So it's big. Most of my stuff fits in here. All my totes of collectibles are downstairs, and I'm still trying to organize the place. But I have my bed and my computer set up. And just looking around, there's boxes everywhere, and I really need to go through and figure out what's what. I have decided that I'm tired of moving. I'm tired of moving all of my collectibles, so I am going to go on the warpath and start downsizing my collection as much as I can. There's about 30 totes down in the basement of action figures and you name it, everything that I've collected over the last 30 plus years. And I'd like to get rid of 50% of that stuff over the next year or two, if I can. Yeah, it's just a lot. I don't have a routine established yet. Still trying to organize the room. Still trying to figure out my new mail route. It's a lot. I'm 45 years old, and I figured it was a good time to move now, because the other option was waiting until I was 60 to retire and then move back to the Sault. But, and the other option, too, is to see how I like working here in the Sault. If I miss all my people back home, I can always put in a transfer and move back to Timmins. That's always an option. There are so many options. Also, I could just get a different job, because I have decided for years that I don't want to be a mailman anymore, but the government pension keeps me going. So I don't know. I'm always on the lookout for new jobs, new career opportunities. If I won the lottery, then I wouldn't have to worry about it anymore. But you know, there's lots of ins and outs and what have yous, and I don't know. I wasn't even sure if I was going to do an episode this week, but I didn't do one last week, so I figured I better do something and give you guys and girls out there in podcast land a nice little update. And there it is. I moved from Timmins back to my hometown of Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada, after living up there for 19 years. And yeah, now I'm... the only word I keep coming back to is discombobulated. Everything is just all over the place, and I haven't established any routines yet. And I've met some people at the post office. Actually, there's a lot of people at the post office. I haven't made any friends yet, but it's only been 3 days. But for the most part, people are friendly. I can only see their eyes because we're all wearing masks. And I've been introduced to a bunch of people, but I don't remember any of their names. But I assume that I will eventually. Yeah, so that's what's going on. I'm sure there's more I could talk about, but I'm exhausted. And I need to just relax because it's been a lot over the last few days. So I'll have to edit this and get it out for all of you to listen to tomorrow, which is today now that you're listening to it, or sometime next week or 10 years from now or whatever. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to try to get some rest. So next week I can fill you in with more details, have another exciting episode. Maybe I'll do something with my brothers. Who knows? Anything's possible. So anyway, let me pull up my phone here for an and remember, and we'll go from there. And let's see here. Okay. Join the Facebook page. Check me out on Instagram at Darth Vaderloo. Check me out on YouTube at Sean Vanderloo. Leave a 5-star review in the podcatcher of your choice. Check out my Etsy store, Rusted Robot Toys, and buy something cool, or tell one of your friends to do that. Other than that, take care of yourselves and each other, and until next time, remember, 10 minutes of doing something is more valuable than 10 hours of thinking of it. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Soul Forge podcast. Your support is greatly appreciated, and we hope you'll tune in again next time. Remember that you can visit soulforgepodcast.com for all of our social media links, and don't forget to share the show with everyone you know. The Soul Forge podcast is your best source for living your best life.
Think about it.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.